What's good? What's good, Commanders fans? So the Commanders make another signing here. They signed a former Chiefs guard, Andrew Wylie. Excuse me. He played right tackle this past season. But of course, this one was kind of predictable with Eric Bieniemy, the ties. I feel like this was an Eric Bieniemy influenced move, which I don't mind at all. I know people in my comments when we talked about signing wide receiver Marcus Kemp, we're trying to find a name like the Commanders, the Chief Anthers, or something like that. I think somebody said the Chief Anthers. That kind of sounded pretty good rolling off the tongue. It may sound a little ugly, but we got to get used to it. So it is what it is on that part. But this is per NFL on Twitter. They signed Andrew Wiley to a 3-year, $24 million deal. Now Ben Standing also said that it's not set in stone just yet, that they're negotiating with it right now. He said, yeah, they're in talks with Andrew Wylie, but no deal has been finalized per source. Sounds like moving toward a deal. Wylie started at right tackle for the Champs the season after previous playing guard made sense as a target. So Andrew Wylie, now you look at some of his numbers, didn't have his best season. That might be because he did play a right tackle instead of guard. This is a stat that I found right here. Of 25 qualifiers, Chiefs quarterback Pat Mahomes had the best pressure to sack percentage in the NFL at 10.8%. His tackles Orlando Brown and Andrew Wylie both finished in top 4 in pressures allowed. So that's not good at all. But once again, he provides position flex. I think they're going to have – now, they could have Cosme stay at right tackle, Wylie be at right guard, and then Nick Gates be at left guard, and Rouye stay at center, and then Leno at left tackle. We'll see if that's how it – excuse me, if that's how it shakes out. But you look at some of Wylie's stats and PFF numbers now. He gave up he had 8 penalties and 9 sacks allowed. That's not good at all. 63.1 overall grade this past season. 2021 had a 67.2. 4 penalties, was tied for 40th. In 2022, 8th was 21st, and he was tied for 3rd, giving up 9 sacks. So that's a good amount of sacks. But it looks like when he played guard, he was better. But 2020, he had 54.9 PFF grade. So you can't go by PFF all the time. But it's tougher to evaluate these linemen, when you're not able to really watch the Chiefs all the time. But in the Super Bowl, he had a big game. In the Super Bowl, he had a big game against the Eagles. They didn't give up a sack at all, and he had a pretty darn good game in that game. 31 pass block snaps. He allowed only 1 pressure to the quarterback, a 98.3% efficiency. And then also when he got drafted in 2017, actually he went undrafted as an offensive tackle. He went to Eastern Michigan. Look at how tall he is, how big he is. He's 6'6", 310 pounds. So I'm all for beefing up the offensive line. 28 years old. Kind of, country fed kind of guy. Played in all 17 games last year. Played in 13 games in 2021, 14 games in 2020, 11 games in 2019, and then 16 games in 2018. So he's been a solid starter and has been relatively healthy for the most part. So is it a slam dunk signing? Who knows? We'll see. But we did have to bolster this offensive line. There's still the draft out there as well. Oh, another good stat for Andrew Wylie. Pass rush win rate per ESPN. He had out of the highest pass ball win rate as a tackle. He finished 9th with 93%. Lane Johnson was number 1. David Bakhtiari was number 2. Brian O'Neill was number 3. Tristan Wirfs was number 5. Titus Howard was number 6. Colton Miller was 7. Braxton Jones was number 9. Andrew Thomas was number 10. Andrew Wylie finished with 93% as with the highest pass block win rate. So those are some good numbers for Andrew Wylie right there. So I gave you some bad numbers. I gave you some good numbers that I could find for Andrew Wylie. So find some other stuff that I could find. Yeah, 3-year, $24 million deal. Wylie started 59 games in 5 years for KC. Had the game of his life in the Super Bowl against Philadelphia. Now a nice payday. That's per Ari Miriab as well. Let me see if there's anything I can find else for a read-up. He started all 20 regular season games and playoff games for the Super Bowl champs in 2022. And on a $2.5 million salary, it has made 59 regular season starts over the past 5 years. Spot Rags market value for Wylie, 3 years, $14 million. Feels light based on the championship affiliation, but the 310-pounder barely cracked the top 100 on the Athletics top 150 free agents list. So I think if we move him back to guard, then I think he will play well. I think Nick Gates, if we move him in the center, I don't mind cutting Chase Reed, to be honest with you, because he's just barely played the last 2 years. And I can't really say that with Nick Gates that he's played a lot too because of the fibula injury, but he's toughed it out too. Not saying that Chase Reed hasn't because he's had season-ending injuries, but it is what it is if we do move on from Chase Reed, which I don't think they will. So we'll see what happens, guys. You guys let me know what you guys think about this signing. Healthy Commanders. Peace. Oh, and then, we'll see what happens. I think some quarterbacks got signed if I'm not mistaken. Case Keenum just got signed. We weren't going to sign Case Keenum anyway. But Mike White, I already talked about that. But my prediction is the quarterback that we do sign. I really don't think we're gonna bring back Taylor Heineke. I think the guy that we sign at quarterback, I already said this before. I think it's gonna be Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton is going to be the backup quarterback that we sign. All right, you guys. Hello, Commanders. Peace.